about that. Oh, God. Uh-oh. Live TV. It's live.
The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
See, my eardrums are intact. Well, hello, welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. The music is still going, and maybe I should sing. No, then again, we'll be off the air if I sing. But welcome. It's Monday, and we had a very eventful weekend in Fall River this weekend. Traffic jams, a mess, and all kinds of hiring, and we have a week in front of us that's we've got a lot to talk about. They have virtually 2 pages of loan orders that are being discussed at the city council meeting on Tuesday. So again, the city of Fall River does what it knows how to do best: spend. Spend money. We don't care how little money we have. We don't care that the taxpayers are ready to shrivel up and die. We'll just spend a whole bunch of money. Let's buy some barrels. But let's talk about this weekend first. We had the Soapbox Derby, and the Spindle City Straight Talk cars did themselves proud. They actually almost made it down the hill, and it was I think a fun time was had by all. We had some pretty unique cars down there. Some people put a lot of time and effort in, and the kids all seemed to have a good time. So it was a lot of fun, and it was hot. Hopefully next year they'll have it in September, so we don't fry. But otherwise, it was a good time, and they had a whole bunch of other things going on in Fall River simultaneously.
Well, Chip, it was a logistical nightmare this week, and I did a commentary before the show today, which will be up online later on this afternoon. But we have to look at the fact that we have these events going, but when major problems occur, you lose community support. And this isn't the first time it's happened. But the kids had a good time. That was what was important. The parade went off without a hitch, although some of the seniors were upset because they felt that Fall River forgot what that whole event was about, and that was remembrance. But again, that's another story. But my big story that I want to get to is the New York Times.
The New York, that's not like the Herald News.
No, that's
not a real newspaper.
That's not a real newspaper.
That's not a real
Inside Amazon, wrestling big ideas in a bruising workplace. This story, and by the way, it's 17 pages long, was written by Jody Cantor and David Streitfeld, who is a Pulitzer Prize-winning writer. But, in no way do these writers meet the quality and expertise of our local newspaper. They're speaking about Amazon in a very interesting way. And what I think is funny is some of the quotes from employees throughout this story, where they talk about Amazon and what they've done, such as nearly every person I worked with, I saw cry at their desk. It would certainly be much easier and socially cohesive to just compromise and not debate, but that may lead to the wrong decision. And they go on and on and on. Amazon went so far as to write up an employee who was diagnosed with breast cancer and undergoing chemotherapy and treatment for her cancer and say, oh, well, too bad. You got to sign this performance improvement plan. So you can be sick, you can be puking, but you better produce. And they refer to Amazon employees as Amazonians. or as they like to refer to them also as Amabots. Now, Jeff Bezos, the creator, president, and CEO of Amazon, says, if I worked for a company that is portrayed in the fashion that this story did, I'd quit. So, is he telling his employees, quit, lump it or leave it? He quotes his management style as data-driven management.
Wow, does that sound familiar?
Yes, it's data-driven management, and they use terms like motivating the Amabots in this article. But he is so into this data-driven management program that he spoke about it at his graduation from Princeton, where he told his grandmother that for every puff you take on a cigarette, you lose some portion of your life. And after she was done with a cigarette, he turned around and says, there, you're going to be dead 9 years earlier. What a nice guy. What a nice guy. I'm telling you, that's the way to run a business. That's how you win friends and influence people.
Well, that's just the kind of business we need in Fall River.
Right. And employees like Liz Pierce, who worked in Amazon's wedding registry, said, I would see people practically combust. Combust, yeah.
Combust. Very interesting.
And there's no reward for not speaking up. No reward for it. If you speak up, they say compliments, having backbone's a compliment, but it'll get you fired. So, I actually spoke with Jody Cantor because she was interested in the complaints that have been filed. Because our mayor, both current and previous.
Our data-driven mayor.
Yeah, our data-driven mayor, and our previous mayor who was driven on selfies. And the city council, all 9 of them, who were driven on its jobs, which, by the way, there are no jobs, are going to vote for a 148-foot curb cut so that they can stop the building of Amazon once they sell the land. Now, the problem that I have here is this. The 500 jobs they're talking about are seasonal. This is, again, the promise from the Fall River Office of Economic Destruction. And what will happen is you'll get hired just before Thanksgiving, and just after Christmas, you'll get fired. The employees that are going to be there are going to be full-time employees that are brought in from Amazon in-house. And that will be a state-of-the-art robotic warehouse. People aren't needed. So when this job happens, when this whole construction happens, and Amazon is supposedly here in the 3rd quarter of next year, if it goes through, and we don't get the jobs we're promised, they're going to use this statement. Well, they made a good faith effort to do it, so we can't take the tiff away from them. Amazon preys on communities like Fall River, which are in such financial destitution that they'll take anything that they throw at them. So, it's kind of like going to Paul Schmidt's farm. If you want the bullshit, you can step in it anywhere.
Well, the reality is that, we have to realize one thing. It was funny because I was watching Meet the Press Sunday, and, they were talking a lot about Donald Trump and the independent senator from Vermont who's making a very large surge in the Democratic polls and why they were talking about it. And they interviewed a few of them, and they talked about the collapse of the middle class, and they talk about what's happened to the economy in the United States. And Fall River, of course, is a microcosm. It's always, if the country or the state gets a cold, Fall River gets pneumonia and dies. But the reality is that we no longer have a middle class in this entire country. That's the reason that CEOs like the guy from Amazon can say, if you don't like it, leave, because they don't have any place to go anymore in this country. It reminds me of a quote from the 1800s. It's in that one of my favorite books, Labor's Untold Story. And it was a quote from a multi-millionaire in the 1800s who owned railroads and factories and numerous businesses. And when he was asked about the deplorable working conditions in the factories, he made the statement that I treat the workers in my factories like the machines. I use them until they're worn out, and then I cast them into the street. And you know something? That's the attitude that big business has had now from the 1800s, from the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, when they had child labor, no unions, deplorable working conditions. It hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is the packaging. Years ago, they made no attempt to cover and make it look like they were doing something. They stuck these people in mills and made them work 14 or 16 hours a day for virtually no money. And as the man said, they treated them like they're machines. They used them until they were used up and cast them into the street. And today, the United States no longer has a middle class because we don't make anything anymore. Everything's in China and Bangladesh because no American company is truly an American company. These companies are all world market conglomerates, and they go wherever they can get the cheapest labor and the maximum profit. You know, for the people who believe that the city cares about the taxpayer, that big business cares about the workers, you're totally delusionary. They've never cared. I mean, you know, history, it always repeats itself. And the fact is, another quote from the 1800s was that we don't care if the president's Democrat or Republican. We don't care if the Congress is Democrat or Republican. We own them. We are the rich, and we will not give up our hold on this nation. And that's a quote from the 1800s, and it's still true today.
More so today.
Well, I don't know, but there was a working class, and I think a very interesting statistic that was brought out on Meet the Press. And we all know it, but the fact is that 98% of the wealth is in 1% of the population, and this is wrong. This was a country that was built on the backs of workers. It was an industrial country that created the greatest economy in the world. And now we're basically almost a third world country. People can't find jobs. They can talk the talk, but they cannot walk the walk. We don't have an economy anymore because big businesses do exactly what Amazon does. You don't like it, take a walk. Go try to find a job. Because if you walk out of Amazon, you're going to be delivering pizza or Chinese food. And that's about all you got. It's just like Fall River. And Captain Midnight, better known as Kenny Fiola, can make all the promises he wants, and Messiah Million can say if you see a cup, pick it up, even though he doesn't live in Fall River, so he's not picking up any cups in Fall River. And they've got all these grandiose ideas. Well, the first thing you have to do is stop spending money, which segues me back into the original thing. 2 pages. They had to send out 2 separate emails with the loan orders. We're going to spend almost $1 million buying brown barrels, which is very appropriate color, by the way. Very appropriate color. And we're going to spend $900,000 on barrels, and we don't even know if we're going to have privatization of our entire trash pickup at some point in time. Talk about more wasted money. We're going to make a curb cut for a business that may or may not, the curb cut might cost more than we make from this business in 10 years in Fall River. And the reality is, this is what this council does. This is what this mayor does. And he's going to create another committee, a committee to check the finances. Now, we had an opportunity to join a state program
Correct.
that would check our finances and do it in an objective way. But no, the mayor wants to create his own committee, kind of like the trash committee. Did they ever come up with a finding?
No, they haven't.
Have we? But we're going to get barrels. So and let's have another committee with everybody appointed by the mayor or the president of the city council, who the mayor basically anoints, and we're going to have a committee to check on if we're handling our finances appropriately. Well, guess what? More political bullshit, and they're piling it on. And I'm going to tell you, I will be before the council tomorrow night because they violated the law and took money out of an employee account, put it in an employer account. And when I called City Hall this morning, the answer I got is when I asked, how did you manage to take money that's not yours, that's statutorily required to be in a separate account and not commingled, and put it into an employer account? And you know the answer was, well, we're not really sure. We may never get the answer. Kind of like the 22 windows, kind of like how much did we pay for the fence around King Philip Mill, and everything in this city. And you know something? As bad as this guy is, I guarantee you he knows where every penny that Amazon spends goes.
Oh, I'm sure.
The city of Fall River doesn't know where anything goes, and they never stop spending. And now they want to pay the retirement late. They want to pay their bill. And they said the budget was balanced. So tomorrow night I'm going to tell the city council, as a retirement board member, I am not going to allow the city to pay late. They're going to pay the interest, and they're going to pay on time because of their malfeasance and not paying the system enough. They created the situation we're in, and I'm not going to allow it as a member. They're not going to have my vote. And I'm going to tell the city council they have no business approving any of those loan orders until we pay our existing bills. And that's a travesty, and they don't care about the people who worked for this city for thousands of years. People that worked 30 and 40 years for this city and went to work every day. And they have a fiduciary and a moral obligation to maintain their retirement system. And like they did with the health care, they dip into it, they steal their money, and they trample over these people and ruin their retirement years with their ineffective government and their inefficiency. And I'm sick and tired of it. I'm angry. I want everybody else to be angry. And at next month's retirement meeting, we have the summer off, the meeting of the retirees, municipal retirees, I am going to tell every single retiree exactly what the city's doing to their retirement fund and to their health care fund, although they know the health care fund. And let's hope that this translates to a massive turnout at the polls, because, as I said, do your homework. Don't listen to the BS. Do your homework. Go, look at the city council meeting on television. Go. Look at that list of loan orders, and then think about the fact that they still haven't paid the bills that they have, and we're creating more bills. And guess how they're going to pay that? More taxes. More fees. And just like this guy said, the hell with my employees. The city of Fall River says, the hell with the taxpayer. The hell with the retiree. The hell with everybody. You don't like it, move out.
And you know how many times I've been told that? If you don't like this city, maybe you should leave. You know what? I have a right to say what I want to say. But, let's get back to these committees that we're creating. The trash committee. City councilor and trash committee chairman Mike Mioza said that they need more time. They need more time. Okay? Now, this is the man who said, I'm not going to run for any elected office. And then after he made that decision and decided not to run for any elected office, he then comes back and says, oh, no, I'm going to run for charter commissioner. Well, you know what that tells me? Sorry, Mike. I'm really not sorry. But if you can't stick by what you say, how am I supposed to believe anything you say at all? And I mean, that's the way it is. And don't try to sell it to me in another way, because you've tried that before. It doesn't work. I remember the quotes. Chip remembers the quotes. We don't forget these things. But I will tell you this. Another committee we need a hole in the head, because they don't do anything anyhow. They placate the people, and they say, oh, well, he's doing something. Look, he's going to audit all the books. That's like giving the books to Jimmy Hoffa or Al Capone and saying, make sure we're spending our money right, okay?
Yeah, it's the chicken in the hen house.
Yeah, exactly. And you know,
it's the wolf in the hen house. I'm sorry.
But you know what? This is the way it is in Fall River. And then they buy it. They buy it. They think, oh, well, he's doing a wonderful job. Look at what he's doing.
But you know, it's politics 101. We all know that. It's like, if you need a roof on your house, you call some roofing contractors, you get an estimate, you get the roof done. You don't need a committee to tell you need a roof. You know, you're getting water in your living room when it rains. So you don't need a committee. Do we need a committee to oversee the finances and with their quote unquote background appointed by the mayor? Why does government do all this? In private industry, like I said, they build a casino the size of a city in Las Vegas in a year to 2 years. And they come in without a problem. They don't have any committee to determine feasibility studies. This is government creating a delay, creating business for their friends. I mean, we all know what Eddie Lambert, I mean, if the city of Fall River was going to buy toilet paper, he asked the UMass Dartmouth policy and whatever that euphemism was, to do a study. Well, let's do a study on toilet paper so we can buy the best toilet paper. Well, you know something? You're elected to lead, make a decision. Mike Mioza, and look, Mike has every right to run for anything he wants and change his mind. Some people will be happy with it, some people won't be happy with it. But what disturbs me is we need more time. What the hell what are you doing? Designing a spaceship? I mean, you know, you need time. This is a simple issue. This is trash pickup. How many alternatives do we have? I mean, what is this? Nuclear physics? I mean, we're not splitting the atom here. It's like, okay, we got trash and we have to remove it. And how many ways do we have to remove trash? We have public trash removal and we have private trash removal. And the way they remove trash is really irrelevant, because what's relevant is you look as a city at cost effectiveness, you know, control over the thing. I mean, it's not that complicated. They make it complicated so they can delay it past the elections, delay it until after they're reelected, and then they can forget about doing anything for another year and a half. And that's the way they do business. And that's why we need to give this city an enema. We really do. Because it's full of you know what. Because it's really stuck up there. It's impacted. And, you know, before we burst the bowel and go into receivership, we really need to give this city an enema. And, you know, it's insulting. It's insulting what C. Samuel Sutter is proposing when he does things like this. He thinks we're all stupid in this city. He really does. He thinks that, you know, I mean, I know that a lot of people say he's an elitist, and he, and I know he graduated from Brown, but, you know, some of the most brilliant people in the world I know have common sense, and that's one of the least common of senses. And, Abraham Lincoln was self-educated, never went to college, and he was one of the most brilliant presidents we ever had. I don't know what this guy thinks. I mean, he's just loaded and on. I mean, this committee, financial wizards from the community, financial wizards that have their own agenda.
And we already know who that person's going to be.
Well, yeah, and it's probably the same person who is responsible for the demise of the retirement system, because they manipulated numbers. And everybody said, oh, he's a financial guru, so let's do it. But as I said before, don't take their word for it. Research. I get on the retirement board. I'm not going to, they came in and they're going to give me a whole bunch of crap. But I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to check with every other retirement board. I'm going to do all kinds of research. And I can tell you right now, I've already done enough research to know it's not going to happen. They're not going to get my vote. They're going to pay on time. They have a fiduciary responsibility and an obligation to live by the contract they made with the retirees, and I'm going to hold their feet to the fire to do that. And this is the problem that we have. We have a government that does whatever the hell it wants and tries to just completely just cloud every issue with smoke, mirrors, and bullshit.
But Chip, as you said, they think we're stupid. Well, let's look at why they think we're stupid, all right? Let's go to data, because the mayor understands data. The data is this. No matter what the city council does, no matter how high they raise your taxes, how high they raise your fees, how many new fees and taxes they add, you continually vote for them. No matter what the mayor does, no matter how bad he is, what do? You vote for him. So, based upon history, and as we've learned before, those who do not learn from history are destined to repeat it. Why do you think the city council, or the mayor, or the school committee, or any elected official in the state would fear the voter? Because you're stupid. No matter what we do, you say, hey, you're a good guy, I'm going to vote for you.
Yeah, well, let's join the rest of the revolution. The rest of the country is now, I think they're upset enough. This is why Donald Trump is leading the Republican polls. This is why Hillary Clinton is slipping like she's on a bobsled at the Olympics.
Right.
She's going downhill so quickly, and because people are fed up. They're finally realizing what's happened to this country. Let's look at it on the city level. Let's stop this. It's not about constituent service. It's not about, oh, he got my cousin a light. They got the DPW down there the next day. Well, they're supposed to be there the next day for everybody, not just, you shouldn't have to call a city councilor to get fundamental city services. You should, and these people live on this constituent service when in fact they're elected to represent the best interests of the people, and they're not doing that by having a fire department that's gutted, not putting your tax money into essential services. And this is the whole key. The key is it's diversionary. They want you not to pay attention. They want you not to take a really close look at this city. And basically what they've done is they've accomplished a lot of their goals, because they gave that ultimatum to a lot of people. If you don't like it here, move out. And a lot of people did. Right. That's the reason. Years ago, you can say this, but the fact is, 15 years ago, 20 years ago in the city of Fall River, if you did what some of these people are doing now, you would be out of office so fast your head would spin. I remember in '95 when they booted 5 of them out, and Linda Pereira was one of them, because they were not happy with what they were doing on the council floor, and they eliminated 5 city councilors in 1995. Now, that was 20 years ago. But it just goes to show when people get angry and pay attention and realize what they're doing, what we can do. We had a recall. We've got to do the same thing. We can't allow them to make us apathetic and to make us not pay attention. We have to look at the realities of what's happening to this country, because Fall River lives in this bubble, and they keep giving you this mantra that we're moving forward, this is a wonderful place. Anybody that says that it isn't a wonderful place is lying. Well, guess what? We're second from the bottom in household income in the state for a city of our size. We're second from the highest. We're the second highest in people living below the poverty level. And ironically enough, I talked about the retirement system. 20 years ago, we were almost 80% funded in our retirement system. And you know where we are today? I just got the new book with the rankings. Guess where we are? Second from the bottom.
There you go.
See, that's one thing we can do. If there's one thing we can do in this city is you like the Red Sox, the basement. You love the basement, and we're the basement of everything. Everything that's good, we're at the bottom of. Everything that's bad, we're at the top of.
Well,
So stay angry.
well, we're at
We're
the end.
supposed to have 59 seconds.
Yeah,
but go ahead,
we're at
CJ.
the end of our show, and I want to thank you for watching. Be watching on Wednesday because it'll be the day after the city council meeting, and I'm quite sure we're going to see an entire mess at the meeting on Tuesday. Because guess what? We're going to bond $500,000 for an old computer system. So
necessarily
just what you want. So be ready to go. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Remember, brown barrels, appropriate color.